Obviously, a really fun night for our guys. Really cool for Josh to be able to get or tie the NCAA record for most threes in a game. Like most of the time, coaches ruin stuff, so I took him out. I didn't know that he was one short of the record. Fortunately, one of our managers was informing us, and I also would get a couple texts on my Apple Watch, which I don't think I'm supposed to be looking at during the game. But so we put him back in dramatic fashion. Of course, he makes it, with 0.7 of a second on the clock, which was really neat. And I was excited to see how much fun his teammates had with it, and how excited they were for him. So really cool from that perspective. I thought our defense early in the game was pretty good, and then unfortunately kind of started to slow as the game continued. But I think that's unfortunately a little bit of human nature based on looking at the scoreboard instead of continuing to just play. So nice to get our first win, and hopefully this will propel us as we move forward. Sometimes it's always good to see the ball go in the basket.
You guys had a couple rough road games, particularly one at USC. How do you feel that those two games help prepare you for tonight?
Well, I think obviously there's a high level of athlete when you're playing USC, you're playing Missouri State, some more length, some more size, some more ability to close out and recover. And I think getting yourself comfortable playing at that type of speed is something that's always beneficial. And so we always test ourselves in the non-conference, and I think that our guys learned a lot in those two games, whether it was maybe how to be a little bit more ready to shoot, maybe how to find an open guy. I thought there were in both games, sometimes we missed open guys, and tonight I thought the ball found the guy who was open every time.
There's, of course, something to feeding that hot hand, and Josh was pretty hot all night long. It felt like during the first half, guys were making not only the play to get it together, but the smart play, like Maddie on a fast break finding Josh Ramirez and Josh finding John. Did you like that element where you're seeing guys sharing the ball throughout the night, even when it wasn't a chase for history?
Yeah, I always love that. We always try and promote that. We want the ball going to the right place. I think there's a flow and an energy to the way that you're supposed to play offense, and I think when someone kind of disrupts that, the ball doesn't go in the basket for you. If you don't really make just the team play. And I thought, even in the context, out of the 25 threes Josh took, maybe those last two were a little bit forced, but for the most part they were all really good looks. And it just kind of happened in the context of what was going on versus, going out and trying to force it. We tell our guys all the time, if you walk on the court and all you're thinking about is trying to score, you never score. If you just go out and try and play the right way and be in the right spot and execute offense, the ball finds you, and usually the ball will find you in an opportunity where you can score it at. And I think Josh kind of exemplified that tonight, and I think his teammates made sure that they were, not saying, hey, this maybe is a game where I can go get a basket or I can drive by this guy. Let me just continue to make the right play.
Clearly, this is a different setting this year, being here and not downtown or in Seoul. What do you think about playing in this building this year?
Well, so far so good. Hopefully we can keep up the pace. But I think it can be a really neat atmosphere. I think it could be a great home court advantage for us. I know there were a number of students that were kind of online a little bit early. I think we've got to coordinate them a little bit and get them as loud and as rowdy as they can possibly be, so that when our opponents come in, this is a daunting place to play. But I think it can be a really unique, special atmosphere for us as we wait for the UPMC Event Center to open. And I think our athletic department's done a good job of kind of making it as logistically capable as humanly possible. And I think our guys are certainly happy to be playing back on campus in front of the students, and it was great to see people come out tonight.
Did you hear the fans pleading with you a little bit when you dared to take him out of the second?
Well, it's hard not to hear everything that goes on in the building. It's not that big a place. But I was trying to keep my poise and my focus. So eventually, a couple guys were pleading with me on the bench, so we had to get them back.
So what's next? How do you keep the guys motivated?
I think it's we'll obviously break this film down tonight and continue to show guys the positive plays and some of the areas where we can continue to improve, and hopefully in that locker room they enjoy the feeling of being successful and winning games, and they're hungry to kind of feel that again. And we'll continue to talk about how we can get better and hopefully come out on Saturday and play with great energy and and see how it goes.
Josh is a guy who shot, I think it was close to 40% from three at Akron. Is that an element you had been really looking forward to getting from him this year?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I think, the last couple of years we've struggled, from a shooting perspective. We knew Josh was a guy that could make some shots. Obviously, we saw a lot of it in practice last year. And so we want to make him as aggressive as we can. I thought even in the Missouri State game, there was a couple of shots that he kind of passed up that, we need him to shoot and make. So I was glad to see him come out aggressively tonight. And now I think some of the question will be when, teams try and take some of that away, right? How can we continue to help him find shots? How can we continue to have him get a couple in transition? How he can hunt someone on penetration, things like that. Because that's, that'll be the next step when teams try and eliminate his ability to shoot that shot.
With Maddie, I feel like we've seen a lot of growth in his game over the last couple of years. What does he present or provide you now with some stability as a fourth-year senior?
Well, obviously he's off to a great start from a rebounding and assist perspective. He's been in this week getting a bunch of extra shots, and we know that will come for him. But the thing that I think is nice for him with John and with Josh, I think in the last couple of years, people have looked at him as the guy that has to be the perimeter shooter, and I think he's at his best when he's diversifying his game, when he's attacking the basket, when he's getting to the free throw line, when he's rebounding, when he's really a playmaker. And not saying that he can't make perimeter shots. It's just I think when he decides that that's all he's going to do, I think it really limits his ability to make all the winning plays that he's capable of making. And I think we've really been encouraging him to get into the paint, really drive people. He's a strong physical guard who has good instincts and good passing ability, and he can really create a lot of stuff for others. So we want to continue to have him do that, and we know that the shots will come and that he'll be able to score it the way he's been capable of over the first 3 years.